Our next economic lesson is called economic terms. Our goal is to define and recognize the 5 basic concepts of economics. Look at your vocabulary words. I'm going to read a definition and then say the word. I want you to repeat the word after me. A person who makes purchases and uses goods and services is a consumer. Merchandise or products bought and sold are goods. Purchasing power of the dollar weakens on a continual basis is inflation. Price on an item rises with increased demand, and the price falls when the supply increases. That's the law of supply and demand. The business of buying and selling is the market. The only seller of a particular good or service in a market is a monopoly. What a business has earned above all costs is a profit. To obtain an item through the use of money or an equivalent currency is purchases. When the employer runs his own business and benefits from his own profits is self-employed. A job where work is done for others is services. Okay, I want you to get your notes wherever you're at on your notes. I don't want you to go to a new page. I just want you to start wherever you are. Just go to the next line, write today's date. The first thing we're going to talk about is the law of supply and demand. Let's say the Hartman's Candy Company comes out with a new candy bar called the Chocolate Bomb. The combination of chocolate and peanut butter is so incredibly delicious that it becomes a national hit. When the Chocolate Bomb is first introduced, the original price suggested by the manufacturer is 75 cents a bar. But Laser Supermarket in Kansas City has people begging for it for as many chocolate bombs as the store has. Therefore, Laser Supermarkets raises the prices on the available chocolate bombs it has left on the shelf. They increase prices from 75 cents to $1.50, and nobody cares. They buy it anyway. This is an example of the law of supply and demand, which states that if other forces do not change, the price on an item will rise with increased demand, and the price will fall when the supply of goods will increase. Some real-life examples of high demand of products when they first entered the market are Bubble Yum, Snackwell cookies, and Cabbage Patch Baby dolls. Prices rose for those products when consumer demand was high. The higher the demand, the higher a price can be put on the item. Think of it. A baseball can be bought for around $5, but since only one baseball was hit for season home run number 70 by Mark McGwire, the demand for that baseball rose to over $3 million. Okay, so the law of supply and demand says that they have an opposite effect, okay? If the supply is high, then the price is low. If the demand is high, so is the price. Okay, on the other hand, if a product has almost no response for the market, the price will drop because now the company is trying to get rid of the product. Let's say that although Laser Supermarket in Kansas City sells the chocolate bombs all throughout the day, Rocket Supermarkets in Denver cannot sell even one. The manager of the store is forced to lower the price to 40 cents a bar before any are sold. The demand is low. The price went down. This is another example of the law of supply and demand. Okay. So if the demand is low, so is the price. Think about it. Which products seem to be constantly in demand? Coca-Cola, Mercedes-Benz cars, Apple iPods, Beanie Babies, iPads. Which products seem to be in demand but may have lost some of their appeal? Tickle Me Elmos, Furbies, yo-yos, platform shoes. Okay, we talked about the law of supply and demand. Now we're going to talk about profits. Profits are what a business has earned above all cost. If self-employed businessman Robert Cornwell of Cornwell Toys can make a GI toy Hummer for a total cost of $3 to a small family business while selling it for $7, his profit is $4 for toy Hummer. Profits are what Mr. Cornwell's business makes over all the costs. You may hear of corporations reporting quarterly earnings and profits in the millions of dollars, and then find out that they sustained a loss in the very next quarterly report. Investments, risk-taking, and expanding, and labor relations all play a significant part in a business profit earning. Okay, so a profit is the amount you sell it for minus the amount it cost you to make it. The amount it cost to make it. If you're going to have a lemonade stand, you go and you buy lemons, sugar, okay, lemons and sugar, and let's say you spend $5 making a gallon. Okay, so it costs you $5. Let's say that you sell the lemonade and you make, let's say you make $10. You sell it per glass and you end up making $10. Okay. You made $10 when you sold it. So that's the amount you sold it for. Minus it cost you $5 to make it. So you would have $5 in profit. Okay. Alright, the next one we're going to talk about, let me erase this. The next term we're going to talk about is the consumer. A consumer is a person who makes purchases. And that's everybody. A person who makes purchases. A consumer uses goods and services. 70-year-old Mr. DeWitt Harris purchases a 50-acre ranch in Arizona. He is a consumer. He purchased something. 5-year-old Bobby Malore buys a 20-cent package of gum. He is a consumer because he made a purchase. You might say that a consumer is like a voter, and that each purchase he makes is a vote. Businesses will report to how the buying public reacts to a new product. The purchases are carefully monitored by companies so that they may know what is popular and will sell quickly. Companies will also spend fantastic amounts of money in order to find out what consumers want. In the early 1970s, Lifesavers Company spent considerable amounts of time and money to discover that many people don't enjoy the hardness of regular bubble gum. They labored and invested to produce a soft bubble gum called Bubble Yum. This new treat, introduced in 1976, was the first soft bubble gum to hit the market, and it was an instant success with children and teenagers. The response was so overwhelming, and sales of the candy quickly soared to such a level that the company could not keep up. The manufacturer had to cut back advertising in order to slow demand and allow production to keep up with the demand. The consumer votes were clear. We like Bubble Yum. Okay, so purchases. Every time you purchase something, you're voting for that product. A purchase is a vote. Okay? The next term I want to talk about is a monopoly. Monopoly. Okay, let's try that again. Monopoly. Pretend that a company called Techno Kitchen puts out a new type of machine called a freeze-zap, which is the opposite of a microwave. Instead of heating food quickly, it freezes food within a minute. The demand for the product is amazing. Techno Kitchen sells the freeze-zap for $3,000 a unit. Since no other company has the technology to invent such a machine, Techno Kitchen sells the only type of this machine in the market. Since they are the only seller, we say that a monopoly exists with Techno Kitchen. Okay. A monopoly is there's only one seller of a particular good or service in a market. One seller of a particular good or service. Okay, now we're going to talk about a term that you are probably a little bit familiar with, and this term is inflation. When prices in a national economy increase on a continual basis, we say that inflation has affected that country. If in a nation the price of gas, milk, meat, paper, and sugar have all doubled, we have a pretty good idea that inflation has hit that country's economy. Mexico has been having a struggle trying to keep inflation under control. Through the decades, they have seen the value of the peso rise and fall. In 2000, a dollar could buy 9 Mexican pesos, but in the 1980s, a dollar could buy as many as 22 pesos. Inflation will hurt a nation's currency strength, as it is matched against other currencies of the world. So inflation is when the purchasing power of the dollar weakens on a continual basis. So it's when the purchasing power weakens continually. You can't buy as much for your dollar as you used to be able to buy. Okay? I want you to go through and study this lesson, answer the questions, and turn in your notes.